Good morning from my smartphone to yours. I'm Castin Love, all the way from the Serious Joy Garden Studios in Costa Mesa, California. And it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Good morning and Namaste, and welcome to Namaste today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Christopher Witecki. My modality is psychic astrology, and my personal mission is to stand in my heart and help the world stand in theirs. This webisode is for Friday. Thank God it's Friday, February 26th, 2016. And today, the Great Human Walk has reached the Grandmaster step of Step 7 Pisces. Hello, my friends. Such a pleasure to be of soul service. Today is Step 7, the purebred step rules the planet. You can expect for a lot of truth to come to the surface. In fact, whenever we hit a Grandmaster step of a sign, which would mean Step 7 in Pisces or Step 4 in Aquarius, that's the first turning point of that sign's story. So today, this is the first turning point of our Pisces story, which is our spiritual story. And as we turn the corner of this first step, we usually turn our backs on fear, emotional baggage, karma, and karmic situations. So hopefully this is the last kind of day of working through the muck of Pisces. Now, that said, I have a great today's vibe to give you through the planets, but first, I want to do a shout out to a fellow lightwalker, as I said I'm going to do every day in the open of the show, and this one is a lady that I met at the Conscious Life Expo. She is beautiful. Her name is Mariana Cooper. Had to look down to make sure I got her name correct, just because I don't want to screw it up. Beautiful woman, wrote a book on how to connect to your intuition and how to know when you're right. In fact, that's what she calls the aha factor, knowing the moment that you're right. She really mapped out a lot of stuff in psychic awareness that I had always done but hadn't thought about. So I really think she's helpful. I think her book is excellent. And I interviewed her, and I'm actually putting that interview live today on my website and also on YouTube. So you can take a look with my interview with her. Fabulous energy. Shout out to Mariana. She's so beautiful. Check out her book. It just came out. It's going to be a bestseller, I can tell. So let's move on to today's vibe. Today's vibe is cloudy, chance of some fear coming up. That's because of a lot of the combination of planets. For one, we're in Step 7 Pisces. So my heart is sensing what is right today in Step 7. I'm getting back to the soul truth of everything. And you may think you know the truth or recognize the truth, but it's not till we get back into Step 7 Pisces that we are realigned. That means the universe will show you the truth today, whether you're prepared to see it or not. And maybe even if you're not, you saw it in your dreams last night. That's how God Universe works. Puts in a dream if you just can't handle it in waking. So I'm sensing what's right. I feel my fears coming to the surface today. The moon is in Libra, so we're going back and forth, but the moon crosses Black Lilith, which means we will come face to face with our fears. Now, let me just say right now, that is not your spiritual truth. In fact, it's part of your spiritual truth. Fears come from mistakes in the past. Fears come from ignorance. But we are feeling our spiritual truth and we are feeling our fears. The fears are our boundaries. I'm open to absolute integrity of vibration today, or absolute integrity of frequency. That's because Venus is at Step 11 Aquarius. Step 11 is integrity. So I'm ready for that integrity, but I'm thinking about my commitments to vibration or frequency. Mercury's at Step 17. So I'm thinking about my commitment to frequency, and I'm opening up to integrity of frequency. I am executing today my final emotional boundary structures, and I have been for the last 3 days, and so have you. And that means it's time to push forward and not at all let go of these high boundaries and where they need to be, because we're not going to be having a chance to change boundaries later. You'll be stuck on the ride. And lastly, I'm learning how to manifest my new reality. Jupiter is retrograde at Step 19, so I'm rethinking about the reality I want to manifest. I'm rethinking about how to manifest that reality. So your joy quest today, should you choose to accept it, is to release all your fears that may come up. So don't allow yourself to be attached, and listen. Release all your fears and listen. Fear is actually the sign you're doing things right, okay? Just so you know. Because when you are facing a fear, you are steering straight into the spiritual issue head on. So seeing fears is great. That's what we're here to get rid of, and fill it with light. So release all fear and listen. All right, friends, let's now move on to your weekend and today's topic. Today's topic is natural means putting it back the way you found it. And this comes to talk about kind of our environment, folks. We've been talking about our environment, right? And I want to open up and have a little dialogue with you, spiritual dialogue, as you go through the weekend, and also as you come into your true soul senses, because I know in the next 24 hours you will come into your true soul sense about things. I want to talk about climate change. Now, this is a hot topic by the media for lots of reasons, but I think it's an important one because I think there's no question. Every human I know is saying the weather is funky, right? So this is truly happening, we know. We're having extreme storms. But I think there's a lot that's going into it. So first, let me pose the 5 o'clock question and get your mind going off. And that is, what does your gut tell you about climate change? What does your gut tell you about climate change? And the follow-up, what can you do about it? When you ever say that to yourself, what can I do about it? Well, what do you answer? What can you do about it? What is your answer? What can you do about it? Okay. So this is all true. Now, for me, I'll answer the questions, of course. What does my gut say about climate change? Oh, it says a lot. In fact, I think I'm going to talk about it here from this point on, what my gut says about it. And I'll talk about what I think we can do about it, too. So let's maybe hold on to your answers before I go into it, because mine will be kind of long here. First of all, I feel that I want to take this whole approach of climate change from a different perspective than anyone out there is taking, and you'll know it immediately. And that is that as humans come into their full consciousness, it is my belief that human beings will consciously take control of the planet's weather. It's my belief that all humans will eventually assume control of the planet's weather. Now, I always knew this psychically growing up. I knew somehow I just knew that we were supposed to connect to the weather, and somehow I just knew that people's emotions tied to the weather. I just knew this. It was a game I played in my head as a kid, paying attention to stuff, but now looking back, I know that's true. And then when I was doing horoscopes, I knew certain cities were certain signs, like Los Angeles was a Leo, and I would see that that if Leos had partly cloudy chance of storms, LA might rain. I was watching that all the time, so I saw that. So I think that human beings are connected to their planet, and but it was affirmed for me when I read the book Conversations with God. I think it was book 3, where God said highly evolved beings, highly enlightened beings, HEBs, souls that are far ahead of us, they all control the weather, and they all have perfect sunny California days all the time when they want, and they all decide for when they want it to rain. And they collectively just do it as a culture. How cool is that? So I think that it is our destiny to control the weather. I do think it's our destiny. I think it's our destiny to control the weather consciously. And I think our fellow brothers and sisters out there who are in top industry, who are in military, who are in industrial, I think they also believe that we should be controlling the weather. The difference is how we do it. I think there's a difference in how we should do it. Now, I went around talking to people, and I'll be releasing these some of these interviews next week, talking to people about what's really going on, for instance, with chemtrails in the sky, about HAARP weather control, and basically what's happening out in the Pacific as far as trying to generate storms. It seems like there is an absolute concerted effort by the industrial military complex to try to control the weather. It's so clear and obvious and everywhere, okay? My gut says, yes, it's true, and every time I go there, I'm like, ugh. Every time I ask psychically about something like that, and I can feel that yes, there's a lot of darkness there, and it's not there being good for humankind, I get sick. I actually want to withdraw. I get angry. I get super angry whenever I hear this stuff. And I have to pull myself back and calm down. And so if you want to know what Sensei does, I don't like hearing this. I think it's so disrespectful to the earth. But here's the thing. I don't know what the answer is, so to speak, but I will say that we're at a point now where we do live in a democracy. We live in a hyper media reality that's measuring Twitters and measuring Facebooks all the time. So the minimum you can do is go on your social media and blast everywhere. That's the minimum you can do as a human being. It just takes doing this, right? Okay? So I think squeaky wheels get heard, period. Nobody likes someone nagging in their ear all the time. Nobody. Not if they're in Congress, not if they're your mother, you know what I mean? Like, nobody likes that. So it's like, I think the most obvious thing we can do as humans is speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. This is not cool, the weather is strange, etc. Now, in that sense, I think it's time for us to begin to consciously connect to the weather. I think for those of us who are seeking to be highly enlightened beings, I believe that we should begin to start to meditate and pull the weather back to where it needs to be for everyone. If this is truly the case, let's get into some prayer circles, and let's do this, folks. Let's pull the weather back. I bet 1 million praying people can pull the weather back from HAARP. I bet, no matter what they're putting in the atmosphere, 2 million praying people can shift the weather to where we want to go. Let's play ball, huh? Right? Like, you want to talk light versus dark? This is how it's done. Let's start intending with love to bring Mother Nature back, and let's start connecting to her right now. And I encourage you to read Conversations with God. I encourage you to read the scripture out there. You know, I believe the Egyptians understood a sound methodology that allowed them to levitate stone. I believe a guy in Florida found that same sound methodology, and I think a lot of cultures have. The earth is willing to work with us, especially when we come by two, okay, and we pray together. It's really interesting. So this weekend, think about all these things as you come into your spirit. And as you come into the purity of your spirit, ask yourself, what should we do? But I will say this, and I just want to put this out there as a call to the light walkers, as unifying our message here. You know, there's debate as to whether or not there is climate change due to humans. And you know what? I think we need to usurp this whole BS because the media wants us to get in this argument of whether or not there is climate change. I say we go straight to this very simple point. You must put the earth back the way you found it. So if you are a plastic manufacturer, you must put the earth back the way you found it. If you are an oil manufacturer, you must put the earth back the way you found it. Can we all agree as humans that we should always put the earth back the way we found it? Isn't that just a common decency thing to do as a basically visitor here? This is God's earth. It's someone else's. Even if it was architected by an alien, it wasn't us. So we should, out of consideration, put the earth back the way we found it. Tell me your thoughts, folks. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Leave your comments at soulgarden.tv. And please speak up on social media. Use your voice right now. Go with your gut. Let's now move on to the Zen Den. And welcome to the Zen Den. All right, my friends, let's take 3 breaths. And as we do take these 3 breaths, I just want to say I'm putting a firewall of love between you and I. And today in this firewall of love, may God speak directly to your needs. So in the safety of our firewall of love, may God speak directly to your needs in that safety. And I want to help you hold space, just like holding hands right here, and say, may God speak to you directly. So let's do 3 breaths and our affirmation. All right, and I got a planet that I will announce in the Zen Den or in the overhead projector. But first, an affirmation for you today and through the whole weekend. This one lasts all weekend long, okay? I accept and receive what my soul tells me, and so it is. I accept and receive what my soul tells me, and so it is. Ultimately, that's all we must do. That's what Pisces is about, and that's what the first chapter of Pisces is about. By the end of the weekend, we will be ready to manifest the first level, step 10, that's Monday. So it's time to accept and bow our heads to our truth and not judge ourselves, whatever it is, okay? Now, for those who are watched over by my personal Sensei service today, the eye candy at 3 o'clock is going to be your psychic step number. And what I mean by that is the step number that you use as a spirit to log in psychically. There's a trick to every one psychic kind of equation. I call it the psychic step number. You'll get it at 3 p.m. So let's look, my tongue is tied today. Let's look at the overhead projector. And today's a powerful day, folks, because like I said, it's a step 7 day right here. I just went right through Neptune. That's not nice. It's a step 7 day in Pisces, which is the sign of 7. So when you have 7s line up, it gets super spiritual. In fact, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to give away my little secret there. Now, the sun is actually crossing Neptune, which is at step 9. I'll redraw Neptune up here. And really, in the next 2 days, it's that you psychically sense the truth today, step 7. You decide, Saturday, step 8, what's not going to work. And then on Sunday, you spiritually act on that truth. And that day, Sunday, God's day, isn't this funny? I mean, isn't it amazing? But as the sun crosses Neptune on Sunday, your heart knows how to act, what to do. And because you're in the vibrational stream of Neptune over the weekend, we really are in God's grace. I think this is the one weekend out of the year, not Easter, where you will feel God's grace because the sun's crossing Neptune. You will just be like, hallelujah, hallelujah. Okay, so we're all aiming for Chiron at step 20. That's going to be the theme of where we're going from this point, is really aiming for that Chiron. But we're just getting, in this first part of the story of Pisces, we're just letting go of our emotional baggage. Now, as I mentioned in the open, Venus is at step 11, Aquarius, Aqua. Step 11 is integrity. Venus is I am receiving. So we are receiving the integrity, which means somewhere you are receiving vibrationally today what integrity is, and you should be clear on what integrity is. You are opening up to what integrity is for you. Now, at the same time, our mind, Mercury, is at step 17, which means that we are loving what we sense. And where do you suppose that 7 comes from in the I sense right there? That's right, it comes from whatever you come up with here. So whatever you sense goes wonk and fills in here, and then you're able to decide something. Most likely what we decide, once we know our heart and what we sense, what we decide is what's best for us, right? If we're listening to the 1 and the 7. Now, okay, the moon today is crossing over Black Lilith. In fact, it's already crossed over Black Lilith by the morning, so a lot of people might have had icky dreams about their fears, icky phobia dreams. That's because the moon was on approach to Black Lilith as you were in your subconscious, so a lot of people work stuff out in dreams. It's kind of interesting to see when Europe and the United States work it out in dreams or daytime, something I just kind of pay attention to. Something my personal Sensei service pays attention to also, by the way, is who's in there having fear issues. But today you will feel that. You'll have to shake that off. You'll have to rebalance yourself and hold your own balance, which is, a spiritual lesson. That's kind of what a spiritual lesson feels like, right? Like what we have to do to hold spiritual lessons. Now, one of the bolts here is Mars at step 26. And when I say bolts is, Mars is the last party here in Scorpio. We had Saturn in Scorpio, we had the Sun in Scorpio, we had Saturn retrograde back in Scorpio. We have been beat to death about emotional boundaries and what we can and can't do for over 4 years now. Mars is at step 26. We are done. Enough is enough in an Irene Cara sort of way in the 70s. You know what I mean? Like, enough is enough. We're ready. We have to decide. This is it. This is our boundary, and we are holding to it. And you know what? There's other stuff to do on the planet. We can't be arguing these boundaries anymore if we're going to manifest. And that's the big next point I want to bring. This yod. You see, Mercury's decision here becomes the foot of a yod. And the new man or wombed man becomes the other foot of a yod. And where's the yod pointing to? I'll just highlight it. La 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 la. It's pointing to the planet God told me about when I went down into spirit just now. Jupiter. Did you guess Jupiter? And when I opened my eyes, I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. Picks out really the most important planet. Jupiter is retrograde at step 19, Virgo, which means manifesting our reality. 19 adds to a 10, which is I manifest. Notice we want to keep an eye on the bridge or opening up to new possibilities. The North Node says, hey, keep your mind open to unlimited possibilities, because that adds to 3. Keep your mind open to crossing the bridge, but you're actually manifesting the base layer of your new reality. So everyone is remanifesting, and this is all as a result of really the sun opposing him in Pisces. What's happening here in the big picture is that as we let go of our baggage and we forgive and we forget and we relax and we chill out, we actually free ourselves up to manifest on the other side in the Virgo consciousness. This was the holdup, and now we're letting it go. And the foot of this new reality, let's say, is the new wombed man or man, and what you're deciding as your frequency that you want to frequent, which is what we really did last month with the sun in Aquarius. All right, friends. So my last little announcement here as we go out is to remind you to come on down to soulgarden.tv. If you register to be a member, you'll notice you have access to the Psychic Lounge. And in the Psychic Lounge, I put extra videos and things up. So when I release extra videos, I put them in the Psychic Lounge. Yes, they're often on YouTube, but you can't find them because I got so many videos. I got 17,000 videos. So you come to my Psychic Lounge, it's like here, 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 and it's all searchable. So don't forget that. Then secondly, I have a new little feature that I'm putting out. This is by request of viewers, and also just kind of makes sense, really. I totally get it. And I am now selling birthday calls. Birthday calls are a 10-minute call to a viewer on their birthday. Now, everyone wants to be called on their birthday, and this is really something that friends of people who watch the show always want to give to their friends. Like, oh my God, I wish you would call my friend for their birthday. People tell me that all the time. Well, I broke down my rate down to a 10-minute call, and I opened it up to where I can do, 1 or 2 calls a day. Like if it works out, we'll see how crazy it is, and do birthday calls. So it makes a great gift. And book while supplies last. That's available on my website as well under readings. It's a new special type of reading, so to speak. And when I call, I'm just going to say, hey, what's up? How you doing today? This year's going to be this for you. How was your last year? I love you. God bless you. Namaste. That's basically what a birthday call will be in the last 10 minutes. All right, my friends. So grateful to be of soul service, whether it's your birthday or not. So grateful that you listen to me, and so grateful to co-create with you. Have a fabulous weekend. Find your soul, protect your truth, and I'll be back on Monday when we manifest that first level. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.